Hi, Maryn from indiebirth here, nestled in the red rocks of Sedona. Just wanted to say hello and share a little bit about communication I wanted to share this morning. Many of you know, I'm getting to know many more of you here on Instagram, but many of you know already that I often do little videos or lives while I'm out on a hike, kind of at the tail end when I've had some quiet and time to reflect, and sometimes things just come in that feel like they need to be communicated. So today I was thinking more about how we all make choices that are right for us. And I'm going to share a little bit about how I do that and how I feel. But the tricky part is there is no recipe that we all can share. So I'd love to hear your thoughts here about how you do this. My feeling and my thoughts is that it is a combination of head and heart. So in what varying percentages or degrees, I think definitely varies per person. So again, I can really only speak for myself, and I do have the privilege and honor of witnessing hundreds of women make this choice successfully for themselves. So maybe you're wondering what I'm even talking about. Let's say that you're curious about home birth, right? You've never birthed before, perhaps. Maybe you have, but in a hospital setting. And now something is leading you to investigate this really cool sounding option of having your baby at home with a midwife on your own terms. Sounds wonderful. It has to be more than sounding wonderful. So how do you get to the place where this is or isn't the right choice for you? So for me, I know I feel things in my body a lot more than most people probably do. So that is the part that I lead with, and I would call that my intuitive sense. However, intuition and fear can be hard to discern. So I know for me, in my body, I feel the arrow pointing ahead to where I should go, kind of deep within, like maybe in my gut or my uterus, like kind of deep within my body, I get a feeling that I know, yes, this is solid. This is the direction I should move. Whereas fear can also be felt in the body, and for me, that's more of like a up here feeling, maybe in my throat or my chest, and it's more nervous. So if you're a feeling person, start to pay attention to where you're getting messages in your body. So for me, those messages, whether it's fear or intuition, are very strong, and I've learned to listen to them. So for me, listening to what's going on in my head is really not very helpful. But it doesn't mean it doesn't play a part in the overall picture. Sometimes there's really great research to read, or another story to read, or information in a book, or statistics, or anything. And I'm just like everybody else. I often will go that route for at least a little bit and just kind of fill up my brain with information. I'm just saying that for me, if I use the information in my brain to make a choice, let's say it's birth related, it's not a solid choice. It's very fear driven, and the intellectual side way outweighs any of the body senses, which for me just doesn't work. Sorry, I'm also disciplining dogs as I do this, so I'm multitasking. So anyway, this has come up a little bit here in local life lately, just meeting with people or, even talking over the phone. We do lots of phone and video consults here at indiebirth. And again, it's not that I have the recipe for you. I don't know what combination you need to really access your deepest truth. All I can offer is that I think more women than not would benefit from paying attention to what's in their bodies and not paying as much attention to the intellectual knowledge. Now, I say that as somebody that's published, 140 podcasts, lots of things to digest. A lot of it is intellectual. I think a lot of it is emotionally based, but it can be interpreted through the brain. So people that are really gung-ho on learning might kind of binge on these podcasts. And again, I'm not saying that that's bad or good, but if you find yourself in a place where your mind is super, super active about information you've received, and you feel kind of overwhelmed with trying to digest it in your head, and you still haven't really paid attention to what's going on in your body, my experience has been that, that may not lead you down the road you want. So people can listen to all these podcasts, for example, and they feel really awesome in their heads about doing it this way, whatever that means. Midwife-attended birth, a home birth. Maybe you're really out of the box and you want to have twins at home, whatever it is. And you follow all this intellectual information and you feel really stimulated by it and you feel really excited by it. But guess what? If that's you, that's an awesome step. I would argue that there are steps after that that need to be taken to find your heart center, to find these places in your body. Just listening to your head, even just listening to me, right, on all these podcasts, that's not going to bring you your truth. That's only an angle or someone's perception, or maybe something you should explore based on how you were led to this information or not. So this is all a really fancy way of saying that it takes some inner work, I believe, to jump off that cliff. Whether that's home birth, whether that's because you're out of the box, whether that's who knows what it is for you. It takes inner work. And the head is just a piece of that for most of us. I couldn't name a woman, I don't think, that 100% of her solid decision making and finding of her truth is in her intellect. I'm sure she's out there somewhere, just offering that. I do think as women, we do err on the side of feeling and emotions and what is going on in our bodies. And then there's such great messages there. So, where does that lead you? I don't know. Lots of room for discussion here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you've made a choice that felt really solid in your deepest self and truth, and it worked out great. Or maybe it didn't. And vice versa. Maybe you really did all this research and you felt, so intellectually powerful and, very aware of whatever situation, and it didn't turn out the way you wanted, or vice versa, right? These can all go different ways. I did a podcast this last week that you can find on virtually any podcast app, iTunes for sure, Spiritual Midwifery, with my friend Amber. And we talk a little bit about people taking full responsibility and how taking full responsibility for yourself, for your birth, for your baby, is not based in the intellect alone. And she offers some great insight into the spiritual aspect of our experience. And I could talk about that probably for ages, but she has her own way of working by communicating with the babies. And, how do I want to say it? The possibilities are kind of endless for our own unique ways to connect with ourselves and our babies, and, again, just to reach this place of truth where we know what's right for us. We don't need anyone to convince us. We haven't made a decision based on just a research study alone or head knowledge alone. We haven't made a decision based on what we think others will think. We really, really have found our place of deep truth. And again, it's just a balance. It's just figuring it out, exploring, not being afraid to feel things. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel doubt. It's okay to feel like, again, you're kind of jumping off a cliff with some of these decisions, because you are in the mainstream world. The mainstream world does not support many of the choices that many of us will make in alignment with our deepest truth, because that's not the system. I mean, truly, if people lived that way, the world wouldn't be the way it is. So it's not an encouraged practice to find yourself, to find what's true for you. And once you do, once you figure out what that formula is for you, in any unique situation, you will be able to make the choice that's best. And of course, that's what we all want. Even as a midwife, I don't want to convince people. I don't want to be, responsible for their intellectual decision to have a birth at home if it's not something they really feel, not something they really believe in. They just thought it sounded nice. I love to work with the women that want to do the work. And that doesn't mean that right away she knows for sure this is it. This is her deepest truth. She has no doubts, no fears. Not at all. It's just an inkling sometimes. This feeling that what you're reading on our Instagram page, the podcast you're listening to, there's something in there that's calling you. It's drawing you, and you need more. But the final step is recognizing yourself and where your work is in those bits of information and other people sharing their insights. That's really where it ends, is with ourselves. So that's my little soapbox today. Just trying out IGTV here today, and also just saying hello again. We have so many new followers here on Instagram. I posted an intro post yesterday, but just really wanting to get to know you all more here. So feel free to message us. Join us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/indiebirth. And of course, continue to take advantage of our, feels like millions of podcasts on iTunes, Taking Back Birth, and the indiebirth.org site. We've got so much going on, and our passion and our mission is to support you in finding your deepest truth. So I'm going to get on with my hike here. I hope you have a great day. Bye.